Spouses who married the cool girl boy from your high school, what are they like now? My mom was the elite Atlanta debutante and lived a very cushy life at a budding Miami country club. Beautiful and very popular at the private school. My dad grew up on a farm in Virginia. They weren't poor, but they were definitely not refined. Eventually my father's family made it down to Miami after selling the farm. He became the lifeguard at the country club pool where my mom spent days lounging about. My parents say they saw each other and that was it. The scandal was great, the debutante and the lowly lifeguard. They just celebrated 54 years of marriage. My lowly lifeguard father made quite the life for my mom regardless of what all those elite twats said was going to happen. She gladly left the country club life for him and they are still so utterly in love, it's crazy. He carries a photo of her at the pool where they met. The only references she makes to being that girl are that they proved everyone wrong. They are beautiful and I love their story. Not me, but my mom married my dad who was hot shit. They met in college when he was an absolute hellion. But since then he became a doctor, still a really fun dude. He's also a licensed contractor, so when he was bored he built a 6,000 square foot barn in our backyard over 10 years completely on his own. Absolutely stand up dude. Building a barn for boredom is impressive. Your mom did good. I married the cool girl. Super athletic, everyone was her friend. We started dating in high school. She's kept up everything people loved about her. Nowadays she isn't as interested in other people and focuses on herself, her career, us and our future. We're planning to buy a house and have kids soon. I'm the breadwinner today, but I'm not so sure if that'll be true in a few years, lol. As it turned out, I married one of the mean girls, didn't go to her school, didn't find out she was considered that till after the divorce. That's how it turned out. Then I dated one of the cool chicks. Did go to her school, did know she was considered that. And she was the most amazing human being I've ever known. That one didn't work out either. Now I'm just retired from relationships for a bit. Strike 3 would heal me right now, thanks all. This was very therapeutic. I have friends and family that are awesome. Hopefully I'll have more someday. For now it's me and my kids I'm focusing on. I'm the opposite of this question. I totally peaked in high school. Was cheerleading captain, valedictorian, prom queen. Super involved and outgoing. Now I'm fat and very unnoticeable, not pretty and maybe not ugly, just bland, and incredibly shy and reserved. Don't really have any friends. But married my high school sweetheart, who was quiet and mostly flew under the radar, and now he is outgoing, successful, and more handsome by the year. Fell in love after we met couple of years after graduation. She used to be the cool girl and I was the quiet introvert. Found out apart from being cool, she was also a very loving person. Married her. She gave meaning and purpose to my life. I can get through life only with her beside me. She is still as cool and as hot-headed as she was. Quick to battle anyone and everyone, if she thinks they are wrong, to my dismay. My sister married the prom king starting running back from her high school. He got fat, but also is a nice dude who makes a killing running some kind of raw materials company. Doesn't talk about the past at all. My high school friend was the cool guy. Everyone liked him, guys and girls. He never got into fights, was always instantly invited everywhere and girls totally swooned over him. He's still the same awesome dude. Hasn't changed a bit. He married an incredibly hot nurse. My mum was the nerdy girl who got all the A's and had zero social skills, and somehow managed to start dating my dad, who was the popular, good-looking guy who everyone thought would peak in high school. She was actually advised by her family and friends that he wouldn't give her the future she was hoping for. They got married at 19, had me when they were 20, and while they were pretty broke the first few years of my life, he paid for my mum to attend law school, Started his own business and 25 years later with 3 kids, they are still so in love and have a pretty cushy life. My dad actually met one of the loud voices who told my mum she was making a big mistake marrying him, and she had said how she always knew he would turn out well, which he found hilarious. So by paying your mother's tuition fees he did help to provide her with the life she wanted. I love that. In my relationship, I came from no money. And my partner's family do have money. When we first got together I was sat down by his mother and she told me in sort of a warning way, "I don't want my son financing your relationship." I was a bit shocked as quite frankly neither of us had money in the bank. We worked independently and saved when we could. 10 years in, it was actually my money that bought us our first home, not his. So it's my little redemption on that judgmental comment early on. Over the decade I've grown to know who she is. And while she is definitely money oriented sometimes, I love her very much and she does have a big heart. Just maybe don't fire the cannons at your son's partner in the first month, ha ha ha. My mom was the cool girl all through high school, undergrad, grad school. But life didn't go that well. For most of her life, she had to be caring for someone in the family who was ill, and that took a huge toll on her. First it was her dad, then it was me. I had childhood illnesses, then her in-laws in quick succession, then her dad again, and finally she had to nurse my dad until he passed away from a terminal illness. She was meant to be social and have fun, and instead she was forced to be around sickness and sadness for her best years. But she is a very happy and mentally strong person in general who made the best of things. She hosted a lot of people and events. My house growing up was full of people visiting and having fun. She's very charming and easy to talk to, and has a lot of fans all the time. Though, my siblings and I find her social side rather annoying. She isn't like that with us, and she tells us her charming side is just an act, and the real her is the lady who is constantly critical of us for our own good. She likes having groupies hanging around, people who are happy to take her help and be grateful to her. She has very few friends who could be considered her equals. She also expects a lot from other people and is constantly disappointed. She wants to be the center of everything. She doesn't know to be a guest at anything. She somehow ends up running every event she's invited to. She sincerely believes she's helping, but it's just disrespectful sometimes, and when we tell her that, she doesn't get it. She likes to dominate everything and make decisions for everyone. We joke that if the Prime Minister was her friend, she'd somehow end up running the country for him. My brother married the popular girl. She was homecoming queen, prom queen, on varsity teams, in band, an honor roll student, beautiful, and super nice. 17ish years and 2 kids later, she is still a sweetheart, beautiful, and athletic. Look at your brother. Did he have glasses in school but took them off at a pivotal point while he was helping her studying for the big test and they kissed, but she went to prom with Steve the prom king anyway, but during the dance she left Steve and saved your brother from Steve and his gang who bullied your brother since he had new clothes and no glasses at the prom? Did that happen? He did start wearing contacts in high school. Mom was the cool girl. Still is. Still literally gets stopped by strangers talking about how cool, pretty, whatever she looks acts. But divorced, husband cheated, and widowed, second husband died, so never really managed to get a happily ever after in romance. I've only seen her as a grown up of course, but going by pictures plus what I remember as a kid, she hasn't changed all that much. I think sometimes she's too used to people being in her orbit and will get sad if something happens where she's not involved. Not overtly so, but you can see she's expecting everyone to always want her there. My brother was one of the hottest guys in high school and went on to be a model. He's still cool and hot to many, but now he's a bit fat. He's my brother, so you want the hot part in my opinion. But women still swoon and he's so obnoxious. Think Matt Dillon, etc. Era. He got dumped by his model 17 years younger wife for a 26-year-old. He has impossible standards and it's making him miserable. He's into these flashy shallow women. Overall he's doing really well and his business is thriving. I married one of our high school sweethearts. We started dating there in the late 70s. A girl everyone loved. Long straight hair down to her rear end. Smiled all the time. Always in the beauty contestant shows and always generous and friendly. Fast forward to now and she is still good looking and does not look her age of 60. Great mother and grandmother and still as good a person now as she was when I met her in 77. Reading these answers about prom kings, head cheerleaders, quarterbacks etc just has me as a Canadian going wow, American high school really is like on TV. The high school experience just really isn't the same here, at least not in my experience. I don't even think our ideas of popular were really the same, mainly due to how much less important sports are here. I think without football reigning supreme it allows for way more variation for what makes someone popular. Exactly my thought. I am from Luxembourg and here in school there isn't even the concept of the popular kid. I always thought the high schools in America were exaggerating how it is, but it seems to actually be, mostly, this wild. Maybe some American here can clarify how much of the movies is actually true. She's still the nicest and gorgeous girl I have met. Nothing changed. She is studying to be a pharmacist. That's something no one would guess, since she always loved history and her school didn't had biology or chemistry edit. We weren't from the same school, but she was one of the most popular girls from the school, neighborhood and university class. I met her on a graduation we both gave up. Just curious, how does a school not have biology or chemistry? Impressive that she is studying pharmacy despite not studying biology and chemistry in school. Public schools in our country are of terrible quality. Many students spend years without having teachers in certain subjects, and that's what happened to her. She is from a poor family, so she couldn't afford private school. You can count on your fingers how many biology and chemistry classes she had. She got a scholarship to the university here in the state we live in, so she's doing it there. She's pretty smart, so she learns fast, but she often freaked out because she didn't know certain basic subjects and needed to research things she should have learned when she was 14 years old. We both are members of a group that tries to change the public schools, turn it into a real place of knowledge, but it's a long way. I didn't marry one, but my husband is friends with a few guys that peaked in high school and they feel the need to relive that sheet. Still talking about the championship that got away 20 years ago. I graduated in 1979, and there is this one woman who is still talking about being a cheerleader and posting photos of herself in her cheer uniform. I deleted FB strictly because of her. The second-hand embarrassment was too strong. My dad was super popular. Prom king, valedictorian, class president, football captain etc. He has a high ranking but normal role at a smallish to medium sized company. Pretty normal guy and a good dad. If brought up he will mention his high school years but he doesn't brag. He was the one who had the six-pack who all the girls swooned over. Very popular. I was not. Saw him after just leaving HS and started going out. Ended up getting married in our early 20s. God knows why. I guess we thought it was just what happened next. He never grew up. All he wanted to do was play online games. But I mean constantly. He would get in from work, walk straight past me to the spare room, straight online and play until the early hours. Get a bit of sleep, go back to work. Same thing, again and again. Never wanted to go anywhere. Just wanted to game. Eventually, I gave him an ultimatum. He chose the game. From what I gather, he's remarried to someone else we went to school with and has 2 kids now. I was told she had to give him an awful lot of ultimatums before he eventually grew up. I sat next to the popular guy every day pretty much for 5 years and I was so afraid of speaking to him. I'd watched him and his friends picking each other up and shoving the chosen one into lockers, or chasing each other around into a pile-on and throwing their shoes at each other. Typical school sheet. They were rowdy and loud and intimidating, but he was the quiet yet seriously funny one, and I crushed on him hard for years. He remembers me as the little blonde girl who didn't speak to anyone because I was so anxious all the time. He also protected his sister from some assholes every break time, and she'd come to find him for safety from bullies. Should have spoken to him sooner when school finished, because we have the same music taste and we get on well enough now at 26 that we have a 6-month-old daughter together, my daughter from a previous relationship, and we just got engaged last weekend. I adore him. He's handsome, charming and funny, and I would do anything for this man as he would for me. I always think about this guy in my HS. He was super popular and the best friend of the worst bully I ever had. I won't say his name, but he went on to be a pro football player, and I always idolized him because of his actions on one single day. He pulled me aside and told me that he noticed I almost never ate lunch. He gave me $20 and told me to make sure I ate well, and that he was sorry he was so mean to me. For anyone who has ever hesitated on apologizing, I will never forget that person, and I will never think he didn't deserve his popularity. I was picked on, but bitter. Not sure if he was necessarily cool, but my dad was prefect and head boy of his school, got along nicely with everyone and was responsible. They didn't have prom there, so that was the highest honor you could probably get. Worked hard and all, and had his classmates help to tutor him. His grades didn't end up great because he came in late to school once and got after school detentions. He would go home late and finish homework overnight, then get up at the crack of dawn to wash his father's bus and be late to school again. More detentions. He dropped out and transferred to another school. Now he's a retired policeman who is working in security to send me and my siblings to school. Does his best still. In my mom's view, he's still handsome, and she calls him a multitude of cutesy nicknames that he pretends to hate. Life is always as tough as normal, but he keeps going. I hate to be the one that bursts everyone's bubble, but my husband was the good-looking athletic guy with a great sense of humor that all of the girls adored. I was the petite blue-eyed blonde cheerleader that he chased for all 4 years in high school. We ended up getting together after high school graduation and were engaged 6 months later. I should have kept running from him like I did in school. He's now an addict who is verbally and emotionally abusive. He's a compulsive liar, and he's stolen prescription medication from me to get high. He's very jealous and has accused me of having an affair with every male I've ever worked with, all without any merit whatsoever. It got so bad at one point that he told me I needed to quit my job and stay home with my son. Then he criticized me for not having a job. I teach high school English, and he is jealous of my male students because he claims he sees the way they watch me and look at me. He's made my life hell. He criticizes and ridicules me for being a diabetic, saying he never intended to marry a cripple, which is hardly the case. I'm happy to say that he'll be getting served with divorce papers very soon. God help the woman who takes my place because he can't do anything for himself. He's never paid a bill, made his own doctor appointments, etc. He's exhausting. He's also that guy who likes to tell our son what a stud he was in school and how he eventually got the girl he wanted. While dating, he portrayed himself to be the man he thought I would see as husband material. However, I quickly saw it was all an act shortly after we married. If I had it to do over, I would have left the country to avoid him. The only good thing to come out of our marriage is my son. I'm sorry that my story was the nightmare in the bunch. I'm just keeping it real. Not married, but been with the class clown of a different high school for 7 years. I moved towns to live with him and people still stop him in public. They can't believe he has a girlfriend, 2 kids and another on the way. They all retell a story about something happening in school and how funny, crazy, outrageous it was. He's actually had an autism diagnosis as an adult, which explains a lot of his weird behavior. Dated a popular class clown out of high school. Got pregnant. He is and was a pretty big deadbeat. Ended up marrying a nerd a few grades above me. Years later, we have 2 more kids and he is an amazing dad to all 3 of the kids. He is also a goddamn snack and a half. Been together for a decade. I started dating a popular, athletic, varsity volleyball and softball as a freshman girl in our senior year, when I was at the peak of my weird emo phase. People teased her so badly she broke up with me the first week, but quickly realized she didn't give a shit about what others were saying and we got back together. We've been married nearly 6 years now, in our 30s. She's largely the same sarcastic, funny person I fell in love with, but more mature as you'd expect with age. Very great mother, the breadwinner and glue that holds us all together. We also have an asshole dog now, too. Husband and I went to different schools in different areas of the state. I guess he was kind of the cool bad boy of his school. While I did not know him during that time, I can tell you that we have been together for 24 years and he is the most wonderful husband and father. I think he was grossly misunderstood back then and would love to tell those teachers who basically said he would be nothing off. I have 2 school friends who both vowed if they were both single at 40 they would marry. They did. He was never married and is morbidly obese and wasn't finding anyone to date, and she was divorced with 4 kids. He became a stepfather and earns a good income and supports her as she was really struggling. He helped straighten the kids out and they have maintained the marriage and vow they kept. They love each other but are not attracted to each other and have separate bedrooms. But the arrangement is working out well in a financial and family way and both enjoy being full-time working grandparents now and making a tidy income and living a comfortable life. Whiffy was cheerleader back in HS. Homecoming court, etc. She's 46 now. We've been married for 25 years and have 4 kids plus a daughter-in-law. And she's still super freaking hot. I hope my father-in-law includes me like this someday. How awesome. I married the popular guy. We didn't go to the same schools, or even in the same city, but met when we were 30. Extremely charismatic and likable. Also used to having everything handed to him and done for him. He constantly spoke about how prior to me, he always was with hot girls and that he basically settled for me. I know I'm pretty but I'm also overweight. He didn't seem to realize that while he was in shape in high school from playing sports, he ballooned up as an adult. We divorced earlier this year. He's already living with potential wife number 3 and me and his first wife have bonded over how terrible he treats his spouses. Yep. He's 35 and working on wife number 3. But he doesn't think he has behavior that needs to change because he spent his whole life hearing he was the best. I was the cool girl in high school, marrying the cool guy from a neighboring high school. Homecoming queen and cheer captain marrying our popular prom king. We're incredibly boring now. No college degrees. I work 2 jobs. He cleans for the school district. But we're happy with it. We have an easy routine. Pay the bills, raise 2 beautiful kids together. Life is good, for the most part. We're divorced now but my ex-wife was a popular cheerleader in high school. I didn't even know much about her younger years when we were dating. I remember cracking up when she busted out a yearbook to show me. She said she loved high school and had a great time. Had lots of friends and ran with the popular kids. I was the total opposite. I hated those years of my life. I remember telling her that she probably would have disliked me if we had known each other as teenagers. I was a computer nerd that was into painting and graphic design. I was bullied a lot just for being socially awkward and super introverted. I was always carrying around and reading books instead of interacting with anyone. Anyway, the ex-wife isn't doing so well from what her current soon-to-be ex-husband told me. She had, and still has, a drinking problem when we divorced but I got out relatively unscathed. She had a kid with this other guy a couple years ago and ended up getting a DUI, not her first. She lost her license and they ended up splitting up. Due to her alcoholism he got an order of protection against her after several domestic disturbances where she got violent. He is still going through the court system but he will likely get full custody of their kid because she has violated a couple orders of protection to come after him. She is on probation now too, which I think she has violated as well. Overall her life sounds like a mess. I feel bad for the guy because he is essentially me if I had decided to stay with her. I feel bad for her too because I know a lot of her issues are due to her dysfunctional childhood. We tried therapy twice but she was quite hostile and resistant to it. My husband was in the popular crowd in our small high school. He was quiet, super hot, and had lots of friends. I had the hugest crush on him all throughout high school but was way too intimidated to talk to him in class. It wasn't until 3 or 4 years after graduation when I first started talking to him at the local grocery store where we worked together. He was still way too cool then with his long dark hair and all. He had dropped out of community college and was just working at the store. Now, I'm not saying it was Almy, but after we started dating, he did go back and get a degree and finally quit the grocery store life. He has a really nice lab job and enjoys it. We've been married for 6 years, together 13, and we have 2 kids. I think it's so funny now because I thought he was so cool in school but the real guy is this down to earth LOTR nerd, which is totally awesome. Okay, so my mom was very popular and from a wealthier family, youngest of 3. My dad was the youngest of 10 and his mom worked her ass off non-stop. They met at a country club where he worked maintenance and she did something else, maybe was a waitress? Can't remember. Anyway, my dad was definitely not a type. I chuckle at old photos of him. Anyway, my mom started dating my dad because she felt bad for him, and was only going to date him for a week or 2 and then dump him. Straight up told my grandmother, her mom, that, well, my dad managed to work his way into her heart in that time and she fell for him. Now here's where it gets slightly better. My dad thought he was hot shit after dating her for a while, thinking he might cast his line back into the water and see what else he could get. Before he did this though, he was burned badly in a fire, was a volunteer firefighter. Badly burned. 3rd degree burns on multiple parts of his body. Guess who was there every possible minute? My mom. She worked, went to the hospital, slept on repeat the whole time he was there. That's when he realized he had been about to be a dumbass and make a terrible mistake. They got married, had 3 kids, a dog and a cat and lived a really great life up until she passed 9 years ago and that's the story of how a dorky looking dude hot the popular girl. We broke up. I moved to California but I had a hot down low gay relationship with the coolest boy in school. He was extremely beautiful and a talented athlete. Captain of the football team. He got married and had a kid and we lost touch with each other for some time. Several years ago I discovered him on Facebook and touched base with him. He made it clear that he was interested in rekindling our relationship. Made it perfectly clear. However, while I have maintained my health and some of my looks over the last 50 years, he did not. Hard liquor and the vicissitudes of a regular American career path had made him ugly in the manner of our father's generation. But I wasn't going to let that stop me. I loved him dearly back in the day. What stopped me was the discovery that he thought Barack Obama was from another planet and Michelle Obama was a man. The political discussion became heated one day and he unfriended me. He's a sad and lonely man whose pension got taken away by the Republicans and who has no friends. Drives an Uber to make ends meet and had to sell his boat to pay medical bills for his crumbling body. When I close my eyes I can think of it the way it was when we met. I fell in love with each other. I remember prom night when we dumped our girlfriends, paddled a John boat across the inlet to an island out in the channel. We took acid and got naked and made love under the moonlight all night long. I remember that night forever. I married the cool popular girl. She was cool because she was, and is, gorgeous and hung out with that sporty crowd. I was a pretty hardcore nerd, but I had some decent social skills and was able to make her laugh a lot once when I sat behind her in class. Started dating at the end of HS and through college. Ultimately she became a doctor who now likes many of my interests: anime, history, heavy metal, and partly shares my obsession with tech. Early on in our relationship, when I was in college, she even painted a cooler for me with images of all the stuff I loved: Dragon Ball Z stuff, 90s Pokemon stuff, Civil War history stuff. It was nice to have a girlfriend, now wife, that didn't belittle my interests, but instead tried to indulge in them.